Thank you all for being a part of the Sedona International Film Festival. And it gives me great pleasure, I think, to introduce you to two of my favorite people of all time and the whole film festival. Bryan Reinhart and Ron Melmon, thank you for joining us.
Hello there again.
Yeah, I think you're becoming a regular here.
Yeah,
I hope so. I hope so.
I mean, not only are you a regular with the Sedona Film Festival and participating in it, but you also, this is your second or third year for filming, having films in the festival.
Yeah, we had a feature in last year, and then we have a short film in this year.
Okay, and the film?
The film this year is called No Shame, No Blame.
Mm-hmm.
And you just had Dustin on
Yes.
talking about it, so he got to talk about what that project was about. And they asked us to film it, and they knew of our film from last year, which was The Valley, and they wanted to do a feature about restorative justice practices. And they brought us on, and we did a short so that they could use that short to try and raise money for the feature length.
Okay, so let's take a look at the clip, and then let's come back and talk more about it.
I started using meth when I was 13, after I got kicked out of school for alcohol.
I turned to drugs specifically to kill the pain, because there's not a night that goes by that I don't cry myself to sleep.
The drug dogs were in the parking lot that day from the police, and I got arrested on my 17th birthday.
We need help, and I hope we all work together and can find a way, instead of just locking us away, finding us help.
Wow. Was this pretty emotional for you to do something like this project?
Yeah, it's actually the hardest thing I've ever had to edit and direct. And I've told this story before. I was out editing in my office, and my wife would come out to work on the computer out there, and she couldn't even stay out there because the stories are just so heartbreaking that you hear in the film. And yeah, we really felt for these people. We were in with both the men's group, and then we also got to go in with the women's group. And so yeah, it was really fascinating experiencing this, but it's challenging, I think, for everybody on the crew.
And was it minimum security? What kind of security is the
Yeah, I think
prison?
it wasn't it? Just considered, yeah, because it's the jail in Yavapai County.
Gotcha.
So this is before they actually, some of them know if they're going on to prison or not, or what's going to happen with them. So this is kind of that first place that they go. So yeah, it is fairly minimum, and but yeah, it was such an interesting group of people, and so many of them you just felt like, oh, this is my neighbor or somebody I'd be hanging out with, and you just hated to see what was happening to them. And I love what restorative justice is trying to do with making it so they don't keep returning to jail, and they don't just have this cycle of jail safer place for them than the outside world. You know, it shouldn't be that way. So that's what Barry and Joe and Dustin are trying to do with restorative justice. They're trying to get them to not come back, find a way for them to make it in the world.
And, expectations. Sometimes when we get ready to do a story, we have certain things that we know that's going to happen or occur. So what was probably some of the biggest surprises that both of you had to experience?
I'll let you talk, Ron.
I think the most challenging part of the whole thing was not so much getting set up and doing the shoot, but getting involved really personally with these inmates, because after we shot the guys for that afternoon, each of them thanked us profusely for doing what we were doing. And of course, we kind of felt like, not employees exactly, but we felt like, oh, this is just our job we're doing. But they were so appreciative of us trying to help out and help tell their story. So that was a very, very rewarding part of the situation. Doing all the gear and bringing everything in and setting up lights and all that, comparatively so, certainly was different, but that was the easy part. It was very difficult dealing with these ladies and gentlemen that were so injured and so it was tough for them to move on in their lives. And perhaps this story, and if we can get the funding to do the documentary, we'll be able to have this story all over the country.
Yeah, I mean, Dustin shared his experience, and I can't even imagine what prison life is like, I'm sure. But being behind bars, what was that like for you?
Well, the strange thing for us also, just when we would interview them, they had to be handcuffed to the wall while we interviewed them, and that was a very uncomfortable situation for me. We're asking them questions or whatever, and we're filming them, and one arm is always tied, and so that was a unique experience. And I just felt for them. I really, because I'm so used to doing an interview when we can be animated and just talk back and forth like we're doing here, and they couldn't do even that, But they also, it was surprising how many of them were comfortable in that situation, and I think that's what they were trying to break is, don't look at this as the place that's safe for you. We got to find a way so that you're safe in life, and because they got along. It was amazing how while we were there, just they were hugging each other and talking to each other and supporting each other. It was really an amazing thing to see. But then we got, at the end of the day, we got to just leave, So it was hard sitting there and knowing that they weren't going to get to just leave, with us and go hang out afterwards or whatever.
Right. Well, I think what's so disheartening too is just like what you said. I mean, someone's being handcuffed, and and in many cases, I don't know how dangerous, if you will, if these people were, if it was just drug crimes
Right.
or whatever, something like that, which is not as violent.
And I'm sure many of them were just not very serious crimes, non-violent.
Right. And then what does that do to someone's psyche, knowing that, maybe something happens or, drugs and now all of a sudden they're in this situation, they can't get out, and it's not a good situation to be in, and sort of makes things worse.
Right. And that's what we hope to really explore more in the feature. We'll actually follow some of these people after they've gone through the program, gotten out, what life is like for them out. I mean, that's how you can grow the film, is you can show more in depth on what happened. This was just purely this little 7-minute piece of what we did inside the jail. And now it would be great to follow them and see what works and what's not working, with the system.
And this is not your first time at the rodeo. You've done many films before. How does this film rank with other films that you've worked on?
How about you, Ron? Compared to just last year?
It was a whole different thing because of the freedom that we had. I think it made me feel incredibly gifted that we have our freedom in this country, even though the political situation is so screwy at the moment. We still have this great freedom. And in the jail, when we even needed to go to the bathroom, we had to be escorted to the bathroom. At the end of the day, at 6 o'clock, you saw this long hallway, and that was the door to freedom. That's how we got out. And you opened up that door, and all the sunshine is there, and air and clean air, and our cars were there, and we could go home. You take that for granted when we were doing the Valley. I mean, we just went up to Telluride and did our thing and went out whenever we wanted to, come home whenever we wanted to. So the contrast was tremendous, just tremendous.
Yeah. Well, and you both make such a wonderful team, and I know you pulled in one of our other teammates here,
Yes.
Larry Pittman. So
That guy right over there.
yeah, right over,
And Angelo.
over there.
Angelo, too.
Yeah.
Angelo, yeah. Great,
Yes,
great
and
group
Angelo.
of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremy worked with us.
Yeah.
We love working with, finding our local group here in Sedona that we can work with, and we hope to just keep doing that. Keep finding the talent locally and work with as many people as we can here, because it's so much fun. We have a great time, like last night.
Last night, I don't know.
You couldn't resist
Again,
the
trouble with a capital T. All of us. Well, how can people find out more about the film?
I guess they go to Northern Arizona Restorative Justice.
And NARJ.org, yeah. That'd be the
NARJ.org.
easiest, yeah.
Right.
NARJ.org.
And your guys are going to be at the screening?
Yeah, there's one at 4 today, so that's going to be in a few minutes. So we'll head over there right after this. If we stop talking, I can go.
Well, I'm not going to see you tonight at a party, so you don't have to film in slow-mo or anything like that. But it's such a pleasure having you both here and working with you. And
You too, Carol.
Yeah, likewise.
I love
You're
it.
great.
So thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so we'll be back, but if you're following us on social media, don't forget hashtag Sedona Film Festival Sedona Film Fest 2020 and Sedona Film Fest 26. We'll be back with more filmmakers after this.
You don't like these.